In the world of Hollow Knight, higher beings are like gods in their power and immortality. The Pale King and White Lady, who are worm and root higher beings respectively, had countless offspring known as vessels. Although their biological parents are higher beings, it's never really made clear whether the vessels are considered to be the same. I'll be looking at evidence both for and against the vessels having a status as higher beings. First of all, at the very beginning of the game, the knight is able to read the King's Past lore tablets which begin with, "Higher beings, these words are for you alone." In the official Hollow Knight Wanderer's journal book, it is confirmed that bugs with no relation to higher beings are not able to read them, as the journal's author Alina the Chronicler directly mentions that she cannot read the lore tablet outside the entrance to the Abyss. I did, however, say relation to higher beings. It's possible that the knight can read the lore tablets while not a higher being themselves simply because they are related to two of them. One thing that should be noted is that we're not entirely sure how higher beings come into existence. At least some are likely embodiments of certain things in nature, such as the radiance for light and dreams and the nightmare's heart for fear. An may not have come from plants though, since the Green Path lore tablets mention her creating plants, not the other way around. We do know that the Pale King is not the only worm in existence, as Bardoon and Mr. Mushroom mention worms as a plural. The Shade Lord simply comes into being when enough of the void has been unified into that form. The point here is that because we don't know how higher beings come into existence, that makes it somewhat difficult to confirm or deny that the vessels are such beings, because although we do know how they came to be, we don't know how similar or different it is to that of confirmed higher beings. Speaking of how the vessels came to be, let's take a look into that aspect. The vessels are most likely not creatures that would naturally exist, as they were engineered to be a certain way. Their eggs were deliberately placed in the abyss so that the hatchlings would be born with void inside their shells. As I mentioned previously, the way that higher beings come to exist is most likely some natural process, unlike that of the vessels. A line of dialogue from the Pale King during the birthplace memory also suggests that the vessels are only born from higher beings rather than existing as higher beings themselves, the line, "born of God and void." If the vessels were higher beings, he most likely would have phrased that line differently. The game also has several examples of creatures that were created by or from higher beings but are not higher beings themselves. Finally, let's examine some traits that all higher beings seem to have in common and evaluate which of those traits the vessels do or don't have. Higher beings can create life all on their own, with examples being the Moth Tribe from the Radiance, the Mosskin from Un, and the Grimkin from the Nightmare's Heart. The Knight can only create life with the assistance of charms such as Glowing Womb and Fluke Nest. Higher beings also seem to live indefinitely until something deliberately kills them. We don't really know how long it's been since the vessels came into existence. The number of vessels who died while trying to escape the Abyss makes it somewhat hard to believe that they were higher beings, although it is entirely possible that higher beings start out in a much smaller and less powerful, therefore more vulnerable, form. Higher beings can also overpower both one another and lesser beings. The Radiance overpowered the Hollow Knight by breaking out of her prison within them, suggesting that the Hollow Knight is not a higher being. The Knight is only able to defeat the Radiance once they are made into a void entity through the power of the Void Heart. In conclusion, it's not exactly clear whether or not the vessels are themselves higher beings, but most evidence seems to point to them not really fitting that description. They are powerful, of course, but not at the level of known higher beings, so they are most likely just very unique, lesser beings. What do you think of my reasoning? Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Please stick around for more videos on Hollow Knight and other great games and media. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.